There are, I think, 2 or 3 important aspects of that. One is to start off by accepting who you are. I mean, people are always thinking that if they get this kind of rejection, then they have to change who they are. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm 5'1" and a bit. I'll never be 6'2", but I can buy ladders and work out how to reach things. So, finding those kind of strategies in your own research is important. And when you get totally inappropriate assessors' reports, which have nothing to do with the quality of your research, you have to find ways of bringing out the evidence to put in, a rebuttal. Mm-hmm. And those are the kinds of skills you need to learn for papers, whatever you're doing in life, because you're going to come across rejection no matter how good you are.
What I've learned is that you've got to separate the personal out from the professional. Yeah. That, let's say an article's easy to talk about. If an article gets rejected, just think, well, that's not about me as a scholar. It's about what is wrong with that article and why that journal didn't accept it. And it could be a mismatch to the journal. The feedback might suggest that, well, it would obviously, if it was a rejection, suggest a lot more work had to be done on it in a certain direction. And I guess now I'm in a better space, and that emotional intelligence of actually managing that and saying, okay, well, this is their view of it. Yeah. How shall I interpret that? I can accept or reject it. Yeah. But I think ultimately what I've learned is to move on more quickly.
Depressing, it never ends, and I kind of say this to my students who, they'll get the reviewer comments back and be heartbroken, and I'm just as bad if I get bad reviews. I have to put it away for 2 days and not look at it. But in the context of a paper that you get very critical comments on, 9 times out of 10, the paper in the end is a much better product. So you have to accept that that's part of the job, and part of the deal we make as academics is to test each other's work and criticise each other's arguments, and that the product at the end will be much better.
There are those times, now and then, very tough times. You just feel seems everything is against you. Those sort of times, I think, luckily, once it's passed, you get better. I think in those times, sometimes it's good to have a few good colleagues to talk to, friends to talk to. Yeah. So sometimes I would, if it's really, really difficult, I give one of them a call. Right. Talk to them. Yeah. Then afterwards, like give some time, then things will improve, basically.
I think you just have to look at why something has occurred, try and understand what you can from it, and then move on, because there's plenty more opportunities and things to do. Yeah. There's always going to be aspects of project. I mean, even at the small scale, there'll be hypotheses that aren't quite what you expect, data that doesn't turn out as nicely as you expect. And on the larger scale, perhaps it's collaborations or grants that don't come to fruition. That's just part of it. Yeah. You've got to have lots of ideas and move on to the next one.